Throughout history, sewing needles have kept things from falling apart at the seams. From primitive times when needles were made of bone to today's thin steel versions, sewing needles have played an important role in our lives. For many years, this simple tool made it possible to clothe an entire family. Today, when most clothing is factory-made, a sewing kit remains a household essential. When things start to unravel, a needle and thread offer a quick fix. Sewing needles begin with thin steel wire. Machinery uncoils two spools simultaneously and pulls the wires across guide wheels and into narrow passageways to remove kinks and straighten the wires. And then cutters slice them to the length of 2 needles. The wires exit into shaking chutes and fall into bins in neat piles. Each one will be used to make 2 needles. This grinding wheel turns, and at the same time an overhead wheel revolves in a different direction to bear down on the ends of the wires and grind them to a point. Sparks fly from the friction. It takes up to 6 grindings to make the tips sharp enough. Then the wires head down the line to a series of stamping machines. The first one flattens each wire at midpoint to form 2 needle heads. The next stamping device punch cuts 2 eyes, 1 in each head. The third machine cuts the wire in 2 and trims excess material from around the needle heads. The needles fall into a bin. In 3 quick steps, this steel wire has been transformed into 2 sewing needles. Next, they toughen the metal by first baking the needles in an oven and then quickly bringing down their temperature. The temperature shock hardens the needles. They cover the needles with glycerin oil and a polishing powder. They wrap them in a bundle of plastic and cloth and stitch it up. They roll a layer of leather around the bundle of needles. The package then goes into a special rolling mill. It spins in this machine for 2 days. Inside, the needles agitate with the polishing ingredients and they emerge looking much smoother. Then it's into a washing machine for a scrub with soap and water. This removes the polishing residue to prepare them for electroplating. Electroplating gives the needles an outer skin of corrosion-resistant nickel. The needles now move forward into a sorting system that ensures the needles are pointing in one direction. An inspector examines the needles for flaws and sorts out the defective ones. They dip the eyes of some needles in a gold bath and apply an electrical charge so the gold gravitates to the nickel and adheres. A little gold around the eyes makes them stand out, so these needles should be easier to thread. Meanwhile, the production of pins is well underway. Gas jets melt glass into tiny dollops, which stick onto the tops of the pins as they roll by. The glass hardens in seconds, going from transparent to opaque. These glass-headed pins are now ready for hemming and other sewing jobs. The pins fall between 2 revolving cylinders. The space between the cylinders gradually narrows. This sorts the pins by size as they drop into various bins below. Now all that's left is the packaging. The packaging line is entirely automated. Robots drop sewing needles into grooves in plastic packages, and the packages move forward. The timing is flawless. Finally, a transparent cover showcases this product's many selling points.